And here's confirmation of all four quarter-finals. Chelsea up against Real. Man City will play Atletico Madrid. Those two will meet for the very first time. Villarreal are up against Bayern Munich and Liverpool are up against Benfica. They haven't played each other since the 2005-06 season in the Champions League when Benfica knocked Liverpool out in the round of 16. Joe Cole, Owen Hargreaves and James Horncastle were watching with me. Joe, is that the worst possible draw for Chelsea, do you think?
No. I think Chelsea would be quite happy with that. We did the semi-final, Linz, last year, and it's not much has changed with both sides. Chelsea were very comfortable. I think all the English clubs would be very happy to avoid each other. Listen, it could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. This game was... it looked like an ageing team against a young, youthful, exuberant, vibrant team. And a year's passed, Linz, and I don't see much difference. I know Ancelotti's come in and he's made an impact, and they've got quality. They're Real Madrid, of course they're a threat. But I think Chelsea will be reasonably happy with that.
How do you think the two have evolved since last season and that 2-0 victory for Chelsea, Owen?
Well, it's, for Chelsea, it's difficult, just because of the situation they're in. I think with Thomas Tuchel and the players, I think they'll be, super confident. Because, as Joe mentioned, they outplayed Real Madrid last year. But I just, the more that James speaks about it and the experience that Real Madrid have, obviously they're underdogs, Real Madrid. But how can, with Modric and Kroos and Casemiro, David Alaba and Courtois, Benzema, Vinicius Jr., they have an incredible group of players. They'll play on the break. But I think Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea, they'll be wary, because the experience that these guys have at winning. So tough, but I think Chelsea will go through. How
do you think Chelsea will deal with that prolific partnership of Benzema and Vinicius Jr., James? I think it's about 70 goals and assists they've produced between them.
Yeah, and it's Benzema's best ever season, I think. Top of the scoring charts in Spain, top of the assist charts in Spain. Just an all-round centre-forward. I think Chelsea have, ever since Tuchel have come in, very balanced side, very good as a team without the ball. But as Joe was saying, it's day-to-day for Chelsea at the moment. You never know what's going to happen next, and how they kind of compartmentalise all of that and just focus on the Champions League, I think is going to be key for them. But this Madrid side has evolved from last year. Ultimately they've got a bit more pace at centre-back in Militao. Ramos, I think, was on the way out, declining. He hasn't barely played at Paris Saint-Germain, and even with Varane going, Alaba is just such an experienced player, a winner in this competition, and as much as we always kind of write them off, experience and class in that side is not to be underestimated.
It's really one to look forward to, isn't it? And for Manchester City, they are up against Atletico Madrid. They haven't met before, Owen. How do you think they'll match up?
Well, completely two different styles of football. But I was there for the game against Manchester United. And I thought they were pretty average, to be honest with you. Atletico Madrid. Couple moments of class. João Felix, obviously he was a star man. Great little back here there. Griezmann stands it up at the back post and Lodi was there to finish it off. They didn't really... In possession, they weren't great. They won't have much of the ball against Manchester City. And you have to be wary of João Felix and Griezmann, Correa on the counter-attack. But I think Manchester City will beat them quite comfortably. I don't think it's the same Atletico Madrid team. Defensively, they're not the same. Oblak's not playing at the same level that he was. So difficult. They make it difficult. They're good at the dark arts, Atletico Madrid, but I think Manchester City have far too much for them.
Yeah, they haven't been vintage at Atletico this season after winning the title last season. And do you feel as well for Manchester City there's still room for improvement in this competition, which could be ominous for them?
They can't do much better than what they did in the previous round, but they'll be delighted with that. And like Owen said, the clash of styles, you can't get more polar opposite ways of how they think and their philosophies on football. Diego Simeone, he's a force of nature. He's the way he plays is not for me in that sense. Effective. And particularly at home, it'll be a problem. So, but I think Manchester City will be delighted with that. Pep will they'll have so much of the ball, they'll move it from side to side, and they'll wait for their openings, and they'll break them down. I expect it to be 2-0 in one leg, maybe 2-1 in the other to Man City, but a comfortable route through to the semi-final.
Yeah, Pep against Simeone on the touchline. That's going to be a battle. How happy will Liverpool be, do you think, with Benfica?
Oh, delighted. They're absolutely delighted. I think they're still, after Man City, I think they're the strongest team in the competition. And they've got probably the easiest draw, or one of the easiest. So they'll be delighted. You respect, obviously, every opposition. Benfica, they've had a great tournament, but if Liverpool are anywhere near their normal level, they'll be very, very comfortable.
They knocked Ajax out, Benfica, though, James. Is Darwin Núñez their biggest threat, the one Liverpool have really got to watch out for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a find he has been. I mean, they signed him from second division side in Spain, Almeria. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be the player who will succeed Suarez and Cavani at international level for Uruguay. More than 20 goals in all competitions. I mean, that was smash and grab in Amsterdam. It's a club in turmoil, though. I mean, they've changed manager. Yeah, they've got an interim at the moment. I think even though we're trying to poach Marco Silva from Fulham, that's not going to happen at the moment. So, I think it's a good draw for Liverpool. And of course, they love going to Portugal. They've wiped the floor with Porto in recent years. They've got Luis Diaz now. They've got Jota, who won't be any stranger to going to the Stadio da Luz. So, in that sense, it's a very good draw, I think, for them.
Yeah, a wise man once said your defence wins you titles. And do you really think that Liverpool defence is going to be their biggest asset, even though they've scored a ton of goals this season?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, before they had that great front three at Liverpool, but it took Alisson and Van Dijk to turn them into a great team. We've seen that with Manchester City. They were a great team before, but Diaz comes in and improves the side. So I think every great team that wins a trophy needs a great defence. We saw that Thomas Tuchel coming in at Chelsea last year improve the defence. So Liverpool have the best centre-back in the world in Van Dijk, and he's playing absolute best. So Liverpool are a threat, that's for sure.
All three English sides going through, Joe?
Without doubt. No questions about it. I think they'll all be delighted with that result they've had, and I can see another all-English final as well.
And here are the qualifiers for the Champions League quarter-finals. Two-time Champions League finalists and the conquerors of Manchester United, Atletico Madrid. Six-time winners, Bayern Munich. Benfica, who've lifted this trophy twice, but not since the 60s. The current holders of the competition, Chelsea. Six-time champions, Liverpool, who became the first English side to win all 6 group stage games this season. English champions and last season's beaten finalists, Man City, record 13-time winners, Real Madrid, and last season's Europa League winners, Villarreal. Well, it's not a bad lineup, is it? And neither is this. Joe Cole, Owen Hargreaves and James Horncastle join me. Now, Joe, we're going to talk West Ham later because the Europa League draw follows at 12:30. But there was a bit of a party in East London last night. How are you feeling?
East London will not be functioning today. I'm a bit fragile, but I actually called it quits early because it was my daughter's 12-year-old birthday, so I had to get home and get up for the present. So I'm all right, Linz, I'm all right.
I'm
Could be a lot worse.
It was for your daughter's birthday, not for the Champions League draw, but we're glad you're here. And we've got an open draw, Joe. When you look at those teams in there, it's some lineup. We should have some blockbuster ties.
It's, this draw here, I think, is the one because you get the route to the final. So all the lads will be out training probably, and they'll have the kit man or someone who'll be watching this. And then as soon as the draw gets made, they'll get someone to come out whispering it, and it'll spread while you're training, and the excitement builds. So at least I used to love these days.
Definitely, we should get some great ones out the hat, I'm sure. Owen, Manchester City are the favourites. Are they the team to beat?
Rightly so, yeah. I think obviously with Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, they're the strongest teams in the competition. I think by some distance. And the City, they've been playing at an unbelievable level. And so have Liverpool, but they just look like almost an unstoppable machine. They have so many different weapons. Manchester City can play different styles. They've got 6 guys that chip in with 10 goals and 10 assists, so it makes it really, really difficult to play against. I mean, that Bernardo Silva, he's a joy to watch. He's just so good. And we had Mahrez and Phil Foden, and the list goes on and on. But Pep has these guys absolutely flying, and for me, they're the favourite in the competition.
They're playing like a machine at the moment, James, aren't they? They're not going to fear anybody.
They made that look so easy, Lindsay. I forgot that they were actually in the Champions League last 16 because it was a formality. When they brought on Scott Carson in the second leg, it felt like, they're playing in the Carabao Cup tonight because making the quarterfinals for them, there were no hiccups at all. And the standard of football that they played in that first leg, we just saw that goal from Bernardo Silva. It was just outrageous. So it's a team that has developed the experience that Pep said they lacked when he first came to the club in Europe. They've been a finalist before. So can they go all the way? We'll have to see. I personally have a little bit of an inkling about Real Madrid at the moment, not just because of Benzema's form. 10 points clear in La Liga. And Carlo Ancelotti, not only could he become the first coach to win all of the five Europe's major leagues this season, he's just been there. He's at the club that wins the Champions League, and he's the Champions League winning manager. So let's see what Madrid do in this draw.
That's your hunch. What about Liverpool, though, Owen? Because they're really finding momentum at the right time in this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that Liverpool lacked maybe in the past was a little bit of depth. And all of a sudden, it just feels like they've addressed that. Luis Diaz is an unbelievable player. And all of a sudden now, with the firepower they have with Jota, Luis Diaz, and to go with, Virgil van Dijk is obviously back. Defensively, they're magnificent. Trent's playing a little bit of a different position and producing some unbelievable numbers, and Mo Salah's the best player in the Premier League. So I think with Klopp in that defence and the attackers that they have now and the depth that they can rotate it, that is, after Manchester City, that is an incredibly good team.
And for Chelsea, Joe, for all the turmoil off the pitch at the moment, they are the defending champions. How much will they fancy their chances with Thomas Tuchel in charge?
Well, Chelsea, with the situation, Chelsea are going day by day, not even week by week at the moment. But one thing, I was there last week, Linz, and Thomas Tuchel was so impressive, the way he's handled this whole situation. And you got the feeling that Chelsea are building that siege mentality. They've won every game since the sanctions, and with Thomas Tuchel at the helm, I think anything's possible. We may have to remember, at this point last year, Frank had left, the club weren't nobody picked them to be winners. Nobody in Europe would have picked them to be winners, but he just got that dressing room, he got hold of it. They got experienced squad now, they know how to win. And I think they've got a chance. I don't make Chelsea, I'd love Chelsea to win it again. I don't make them favourites, but what they have to do is they're a bunch of winners. And that goes a long way. And in this game in particular, in Lille, the first half, Lille was really on the front foot. They was insurgent. And what Chelsea did was they looked like a team calm in the eye of the storm. Lille scored the goal and they could have panicked, and it was one bit of quality. They knew it was going to happen, opened up, and they got options. And the squad's strong. So Chelsea will be threatening, that's for sure.
There were no expectations on them last season, though, were there? How does it change things for them as the defending champions with the pressure that brings?
Well, I think once the lads get a taste of winning that, you don't want to go back. And Thomas Tuchel, Joe's right, he did an amazing job of, sorting the defence out. And they had such a great squad of players. But Joe makes a great point. The mentality of the players is they're winners. And it's difficult right now. There's a lot of pressure there. But so far, they've done a good job. And I agree, Thomas Tuchel, in that situation he's been put in, I think he's done an incredible job of managing that whole situation, because nobody from the top of the club is really speaking. He's the one that has to be front and centre, and then having to be close to the boys. So I think he's done brilliant, and they're dangerous, very dangerous.
He's dealing with it so well. And James, no Italian teams in the quarterfinals for the second season running. What's going on?
No Messi or Cristiano in the quarterfinals for the second season running as well. Is it an end of an era? I mean, I thought Inter played very well against Liverpool in both legs at San Siro and at Anfield. I think Liverpool's depth, as Owen was saying, ultimately made the difference, because once Luis Diaz came on at San Siro, all of a sudden they had a player who was running at that defence. They started getting set pieces. They scored from a set piece. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, three Spanish sides in the round of 16. None of whom are Barcelona. Given Atletico had a bit of a wobble after being Spanish champions, they look like they're back from the performance that they put in against Manchester United at Old Trafford, very old school Atletico performance. And then Villarreal, again, being one of the kind of surprises of the competition. And Unai Emery, someone who's won the Europa League 4 times, finally through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League.